Ah, I seem to be having problems with some of my stuff tonight. That's what happens when I end up uh, doing something impromptu. So I apologize in advance. So, yeah, having fun times here. So, there we go. All right. I know what was happening. I didn't have something muted over there. I think, let me make sure everything else is muted. Mute, mute, mute. There we go. All right. I was getting feedback. There we go. I think I'm better now. Yeah, I'm discombobulated from from the weekend. Hello, if you're joining. I know this is impromptu, but sometimes I do that. Um, and so yeah, I'm just gonna do a quick note on my social media here. I kind of got ahead of myself. So yeah, Rumble is live. Yep. So anyway, I thought I'd just join in and try to relax in a different way um, while my husband's taking a nap. He and I kind of been thrown for a loop this weekend. You know, we if you follow us at all, then you know that we tend to have very busy lives for midlife artists. And I include him in that because he and I are the same age. And he's an artist as well, although he's been operating in his artistic talents for years, much longer than I have. And so he's got his own, branding where I am the midlife artist at midlifeartist.com. So if you don't know who I am and you're joining in because you happen to see me in passing on either Rumble or on YouTube and you're like, who the heck is this lady? Well, I'm Stephanie Stevenson, and I am also known as um, watercolor artiste in social media circles. And I am the artist at midlifeartist.com. And so, yeah, um, my mic is still not very loud. I apologize for that. I'm going to have to look into that. But in any case, I figured I'd join in because I was gonna do some recliner art in the recliner while my husband was napping. He's been having a rough go of it this weekend, and so he's catching some rest. Um, but Saturday was a great day in terms of, I did go to the farmers market. And hi, Ray, thanks for joining in. I just decided to come online real fast. So anyway, um, and yeah, so I went to the farmers market with a limited tent set up than I usually do. And I got to meet a lot of people, talk with people, and it's great because artists will be attracted to your tent because you're an artist, they're an artist. And so you get to talk to a lot of artists when you do these events, which is kind of neat because you get to talk to people who are artists, people who are related to artists, and you get to hear stories about other people's journey, and you get to exchange advice and the like. So it's a great camaraderie. So I had some great interactions with a lot of great people in the local community. So it was definitely worthwhile. Even if I didn't make a single sale yesterday, it was worth going to meet people. It was the opening Saturday of the farmers market season uh, in Dalton, Georgia. And so I got in on the ground floor, so to speak. So yeah, it was good. I did happen to make some print sales, which I'm grateful for. Lord knows I need them because of what else happened this weekend. Um, so so yeah, I got home last night from the farmers market, and I say last night, but yesterday afternoon. It was afternoon when I got home, and my husband had regaled me with with his effort to save the babies in a bird's nest that's rafters on the underside of our back porch behind our house. Apparently, when he was taking our dog Jackpot out, he was hearing the birds really just putting out a ruckus. And he's like, "What is going on?" Usually when the songbirds are putting up a ruckus, it's usually because there's a red-tailed hawk flying above or some other hawk, a predator bird. But he didn't see one. And as he got closer to the back side of the house, he noticed there was a snake that had worked its way up the post uh, towards the bird's nest that was created in the rafters underneath the backside of our porch. And it was a sizable snake. And we don't usually have snakes. In the 10 plus years that I've lived in Northwest Georgia, we've only ever seen two instances of snakes in our yard. So I'm grateful for that. Now it's three instances, and this time it was a little too close for comfort. He had me stop at Lowe's on the way home yesterday to pick up Snake Be Gone. So that has been freshly spread about the house as of yesterday afternoon. I do believe he saved the little birdies from the snake because he was able to get inside and grab a machete and try to just hit at it. He didn't injure it enough to kill it, I don't think, because it slithered off. We saw it in the cameras, but it was pretty sizable. Thankfully, it wasn't venomous. It's a eastern rat snake, which is known for going after birds' nests. So with that excitement, we're like, oh, we're gonna have to keep an eye out, make sure that snake doesn't come back, because the birds got a pretty good spot and they're not doing any harm, and they're the kind of birds, songbirds that will eat the bugs off your back porch. And they're like, go ahead, eat all the bugs you want, eat the eat the flying stinging things in particular would be really nice. Earn your keep, birdies. you know. So anyway, we were doing that, and then Ron at about 5 o'clock. As is per usual, we take Jackpot out on his 5 o'clock walkabout to do his business, and he noticed a kitten hiding underneath a big tree trunk that had been felled, I don't know, felled? Anyway, a couple years ago. And it was so big, no one ever came to get it. We thought for sure someone would want it, maybe even pay us money to take it. Never happened. So it's been sitting there. Yeah, me too. I hate snakes too, Ray. Uh, but not as much as I hate flying, stinging things. Flying, stinging things really set me off. My fear level goes through the roof. Snakes, not so much, although I am afraid of them. I don't have an autonomic response for those. But in any case, my husband, while walking Jackpot, saw an orange tabby kitten hiding or trying to hide under this felled tree. Um, God bless its little heart. And it didn't look like it was approachable at the time. So my husband hustled Jack about and got him back inside, and then got a bowl of sardines and brought it out like we did years ago when we discovered Mama Cat and her two kittens in the tree pile in the backyard. So that was providing great cover for them. We didn't worry about them as much, but this orange tabby cat kitten seemed to not, you know, that that pile of wood is kind of deteriorated to the point you can't get in it or around it. So it was out in the open, so to speak. So he got a can of sardines, sang the song that we sang when we first encountered Mama Cat and her kittens to earn their trust. This cat, didn't come to greet Ron, but Ron left it kind of out in the open, but it was sardines, so it was very aromatic. And it did come out to eat, and it's clearly struggling. And then it was gone last night. I looked out, I kept looking out the window, and because it went back to its little spot for a while, and then it was gone. I'm like, oh, well, maybe it moved on. We felt bad for it, but we didn't know what we were going to do. Anyway, now today, it came back and made its way to under our back porch, and it's still struggling to stay on its feet. So Ron decided to bring some more food out, and it came over to him. It didn't wasn't scared. There's no way it can run. I don't know how it survived the night. Um, it can barely stand on its 2 feet. It's 4 feet rather. And it turns out it's a most, I guess, 80% of the orange tabby cats out there are males. This happens to be a female and happens to be a female in heat. And it's a very malnourished kitten. And there's just no, with the torrential rains that we're going to have for the next 48 hours, and it's being in heat and its inability to run and all that stuff, we're like, oh no. So we have managed, I was able to pick it up and put it in the crate that we had. We had a big crate for another stray animal that we had to take care of a couple years ago that we called Rocket, a puppy dog that kept coming about and was making a nuisance of itself in the neighborhood. And we were afraid for his safety, so we took him, trained him, and then got him. We fostered him briefly before the Humane Society got him adopted out. But he was trained by the time we were done with him, so that when he was adopted, he would make a good house pet. So yeah, we had that crate still, and so we put a nice towel and blanket in there, put her in there, and put her in the garage with a nice enclosed spot that she can't get into trouble because she's not able to really walk well. She's got food, she's got water, and tomorrow we're going to take her to the vet, the low cost vet that's about a 40-minute drive from us. I'm taking at least the half day, if not the full day, to help take care of this kitten. What we're going to do with her afterwards, I have no idea. Um, Mama cat that we have in house is FIV, and they tell us that we can't have any other cats in the house for fear that she'll get sick. But I have a feeling this cat might have FIV too because it's been out. I don't know. So I guess we'll find out more tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow or Wednesday or whatever to find out the latest in our saga. So yeah, we're suckers. Apparently, somehow or another, animals keep finding their way to our house and they often need help, and we can't turn our back. So here we are. We're busy as all get out, and we're trying to make extra money, and we end up with this kind of situation. And anywho, I thought I would come in. I was sitting in the recliner, like I said, and all that's the long story of the weekend wild things going on. But I was working on a Zentangle for the name of the Truth Social group I help moderate, because I had done a Zentangle artwork before for another group, and I still have it up on my board because I'm pretty proud of it. I've never done Zentangle, and it was like my first um, effort to do it. And I can't really put that out there because I'm not in that group anymore. And I have another group that I'm participating in that I help moderate. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just do a new one, a new Zentangle, based on the title of the group called the Arts Collective. And so I've just figured I had laid out a grid on a sketch pad, and I'm gonna just try to get the letters drawn in and kind of figure out how I'm gonna do a Zentangle. I thought I'd invite you to join me and see where the creative process takes me. So, in any case, welcome. Welcome if you're new. Yep, you are now on task to feel sorry for me and my weekend. Not really, um, but yeah, if you're a praying sort, pray for us that we can give this kitten a better life. Whether that's, I don't know, I don't know what that's going to be. But anyway, we're very stressed out right now, and I'm trying to find a way to come on down. So anyway, I have the palette cam, I hope, working. Palette cam working. Okay, very good. Palette cam is working. Woohoo! All right. And so you can't see the grid work, but I've got a line for arts, and then I've got a line for collective. And I'm going to first draw in, I'm going to bring this down a little bit so you can see it. There we go. Okay. So yeah, if you're lurking and observing without really talking or anything, that's fine. If you are interested in chatting, I do have my chat windows open. So feel free to say hello, um, whatever, that's fine. But I've got a line here and a line here. So, and I'm going to try to make it centered. So I got ARTS. So 2 letters on this side of the middle, 2 letters on that side. I want the first letter of each word to be slightly bigger. So I'm going to eyeball this. So I want to get my letters down in pencil. And I'm going to just do plain lettering, nothing fancy. Um, maybe I'll do the R first. And I need to try to make these letters the same size for both words. So, COLLE. So, okay. So we will do, I'm drawing I'm sketching out the letters that are on each side of the middle. So, and then, like I said, I'm going to make a Zentangle kind of design for them. Like I did before with the other one. And I may even borrow some of the designs from the other one because I really like them. But I've got new letters in this title that I can make something new out of. And that, I think I'm using too soft a lead pencil here. I think, what do I got? HB. That's not really a soft. That's not really soft. So I don't know why this is coming across so dark. That just seems too thin. But anyway, so that's how it's going. And Ray, if you're still there, how's your first weekend as a retiree? Congratulations on retiring from the teaching profession. That's awesome. I hope someday to actually be able to retire myself. We will see what happens in that time frame. There we go. I think that looks a little better. That's an R. We're doing A, making the A a little bit bigger. Because it's a capital A. I got a hard something in this lead. But yeah, busy. It was a busy weekend. Did you have any parties for your retirement? Or did you do anything special? Let's see here. I'm going to make this A uniform and even. That's not bad. This is freehand, so not bad for freehand. I've been trying to organize all the supplies I brought back. Oh, well, you also have more time to create art, so I'm expecting to see a lot more from you now. Yes, sir. So I'm trying to think of what I would want to see you do, because you do portraits really well. Obviously, that's the mainstay that you do, and you do a lot of portraits. Just trying to think who I'd want you to do a portrait of and see if you do it. But as I think of them, I'm like, who would that be? I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. Let's see here. I do want a little bit of space. You know, sometimes the best way to celebrate something, especially like retirement, is to stay home. I'm like, why not? Why not? Uh, Trying to make these uniform, but not too big because I want the second word to be in the same proportion as the first word in terms of letter size. Yeah, I like painting people and drawing people too, um, as you well know. Let's see. Have you ever done like Bruce Willis? Because given what is happening to him, which is very unfortunate, and he had such a prolific career. Um, it'd be kind of cool to see maybe something with him in it. Um, who else? Who else? Trying to think of people worthy of having you draw their portrait. Hello, Sharon on YouTube. What am I working on today? I'm working on what's called a Zentangle. It's a type of it's a type of um, doodle. I hate to use the word doodle because it makes it sound like it's not serious, but um, it's it's essentially making art out of structure. And in this case, I'm going to be making doodle designs that have um, that's not necessarily any relation to art, but it just artwork itself. Let me see if I can't show you an example of what I mean. I don't really want to display this on, because it's not, well, I do and I don't, but let me just get over myself here and I'll get the example of what I'm talking about and show it on the live stream. Give me a second as I walk away for a minute. Oh, let's see. Okay, there we go. All right, you're going to get to see an example. This is one that I did a couple years ago now. And it was for a group that I was in before that I am no longer part of, not by my choice. But in any case, it was the first time I did a Zentangle, which is essentially, like I said, a doodle that has some sort of structure to it. And um, and so you can see there's the R, a T, an I, an S, and a T. And it just has all kinds of different things on it. So you can see I made the C out of rope, and then I made an O out of a spider and a spider web. And I had some of what was going on in these letterings, trickling down into the others, and I even have a little bit of a jackpot making an appearance here. So yeah, um, I'm very proud that I did this. I started off doing it as a pen and ink, and then I came in and I did watercolor over it. So that this actually has watercolor. And it's just on a plain piece of paper, not on watercolor paper. Um, and I actually made this mouse without a reference and just kind of did it on my own. I made this bee. I mean, I'm kind of proud of what I did here. And so I want to do something similar for my new group called the Arts Collective. And so I'm laying down the groundwork here um, for doing something similar. And like I said, some of this design I really like, and I'll probably incorporate into the new one. But there's going to be a couple of letters that I don't have that I'll have to come up with a design, and that's perfectly fine. But it's called Zentangle, and it actually is a way to help relax um, an artist. And so yeah, so that's what it's kind of about. So I thought I'd share that. Let's see if I can get this S going. There you go. So yeah, that's what it's about, Sharon. That's what I'm doing today. Did you? I don't know if you just joined or not, but I got done explaining why I'm doing a impromptu live stream to today, and it's because of the various wild things going on in our lives. That seems to be much smaller than the others, and it is. Okay. I kind of, this is meant to be relaxing. And here I am like, that's not right, not perfect. So here I am, not relaxing, but I've got to make it at least as tall as this line here. So yeah, I want it to be nice. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make designs out of the letters. I just want to get the letters placed first, and I want them to look even and this the arts collective. So yeah, and I'm trying to make it so it looks even and proportioned with the rest. So there we go. I'm sorry about the shadow going across my paper. I don't have the best lighting. But yeah, so I just thought I'd do this and talk about the weekend. And like I said, the weekend was great. Even with the wild things happening, um, it's been a great weekend. It's just been a more stressful one than anticipated. And I'm grateful that um, I have a really awesome manager at my day job because, I messaged her and I said, listen, I said, I've got to take care of this kitten. She's a kitten that can't take care of herself, and she's in heat, and we had torrential rains, and she's malnourished, and I've got to get her fixed for sure, and that's going to cost money. I think, thankfully, this is a low cost vet locally, but they're because of the fact that they're low cost and due to the what I really feels like an epidemic of poor animal treatment in this area. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, it's not great. That's one thing about the area in which I live that I'm not happy about. Um, I lived most of my life in New England, and you just don't see the kind of neglect in the amount of neglect that you see down here. And I was just really surprised by it, to tell you the truth. Um, and it hasn't abated. And I don't know why that is, because typically down south here, you got, I hate to say it, but typically a better quality people. But I don't think that is as true as it was back in my college days. I think things have evened out in that regard. But when it comes to animal care, and I can only speak for New England versus down here because I've not lived out west. It is definitely totally different worlds. So Colle. I gotta have E here. Okay. Um, and so yeah, I'm trying to keep the others. Okay, interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna do lowercase e. Um, so anyway, it's depressing to me, um, the lack of care, and how overburdened the um, the humane societies and other shelters that help animals in need, and we've had the local humane society ask me and Ron, since we trained Rocket um, for adoption while we fostered him after we rescued him because he came to our house. Um, and we're like, we can't make that long-term commitment. But we always said that if an animal came to our house and it needed our help, we would we would take care of it. And that's been the case. We've had, let's see, the first time an animal came to our doorstep was um, December 1st, because it was the day of my oldest son's birthday. And it was, I think, 2018. Was it 2018? Maybe it was 2017. Anyway, it was around there, okay? And it was a kitten, a small kitten that was left on our front doorstep, on our front porch. And I'm like, are you serious? Someone had to leave that kitten there. There was no way that kitten got up the steps on its own. Um, and so, uh, and that was our first cat ever. Both Ron and I are dog people. We don't, we weren't into cats. We didn't know how to take care of cats. But this kitten was literally underneath my office window, and I didn't even know until Ron had gone outside for something. And Hearts Collective, COLLECTIVE. Okay. I'm making sure I've got this right. Um, and so yeah, we that was one. And then Ron once went into town. And when we say into town, we mean into Dalton. It's about a half-hour drive. And whenever we have to go to some place like Home Depot or Lowe's or any box store or anything like that, we have to go into town. And it's a half-hour drive one way. So what that means is it's a half-hour drive back, and then of course whatever time it takes for you to accomplish your errand. And so it was at least an hour and a half, if not longer. And on his way out, he saw a stray dog on one of the nearby roads that we have to take in order for us to get to town. And he said to God, if that dog is still there when I'm come back, I will see about trying to rescue it. And on our way back, he didn't see it. And so he breathed a little bit of a sigh of relief, thinking he was in the clear, that we weren't going to have to take care of an animal, a stray. And he was parked in the driveway. He was unloading the back of his Jimmy. And lo and behold, something hits the back of his knees, and it's the dog. It had followed him somehow. He didn't see where it came from, but that's what happened. And then he went to the front of the house while he was outside. The dog followed him to the front of the house, went up on the front porch, looked in the, looked in the window, and Ron looked in the window at me because my office is on the front porch. and the, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a dog. So I went to the front door and opened the door, and the dog let itself in as I opened the door. And I'm like, uh-oh. Oh, Stephanie. See, that's what happens when I talk. I meant to do a C and I was doing an S. That's what happens when I'm talking and drawing at the same time. Oh, gosh. All right, try that again, Stephanie. All right, so it's a C, not an S. C, stop. Stop being a dork. Okay. No dorks allowed. So, yeah. And so it turned out that it was a black Australian Shepherd that at the time we knew we couldn't keep him. Beautiful dog. He was young because the condition of his teeth indicated he was young. And and so we reached out to the Humane Society and said, we can't keep him. Can you take him? They're like, we can't take him. He's too big. But if you foster him, we'll do all the vetting. We'll pay for him getting fixed and all that stuff. COLLE, collect. So CTI. Did I do this right? COLLECTIVE. 5 and 5. Okay, yeah, I got it. And so they took care of the cost of getting We named him Shadow because he was all black, and they paid for him to get neutered. We had to take him in to get it done, and that's how we were introduced to the low cost vet down in the southern half of Dalton called My Kids Have Paws. And we decided, that was a good way to go, that we would foster him and try to train him as best as we could. And we did a good job, I think, considering. And we only had him about a week, maybe two, I think. And he was adopted right away because he was an Australian Shepherd, and someone that was used to having Australian Shepherds in their lives had just lost their own, and so they were looking to get another Australian Shepherd. And so it was only a week after um, we made the deal with the Humane Society, and we had kind of gotten attached to Shadow in that week, and we actually both teared up when we had to bring him into the Humane Society to be adopted. But we knew we weren't ready to take care of an animal at that time. So um, that was the second one, and then shortly after that, we get another animal that came through that we ended naming Rocket. That was like 2 years ago now, I think. I don't know what kind of dog he was. Seemed to probably be some kind of mix. And he was such a jumper. And that's why we called him Rocket. It's like he was always taking off, launching. He wanted to get out and about. He wanted to be outside. He wanted to be roaming. And we had to break him of that. And we had to train him because he wasn't going to be adoptable otherwise. And so yeah, uh, pretty, and he was also not contained. So he was kind of like a feral dog. We had to put him in a crate at night, and he just whined and barked and all that stuff, and it broke my heart. Ron had to kind of break him of that and tell him he's going to be okay. It was a rough time. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that again. But he got, after they put him on the website for adoption, it was within a week he was adopted. And we went in and we met with the family that was going to adopt him and told him how we trained him, and told him how to take care of him in the way that we trained him. And as far as I know, that was a happy, happy adoption. If we hadn't trained Rocket, he probably would not be a success story. Um, so, and we were happy to help Rocket. It was just a rough time initially because he was not trained in anything. We had to train him to go outside. We had to crate train him. We had to, train him for commands. And we did accomplish all of that in the short time that we had him. So we're very proud to have been able to do that. Collective. The arts collective. Okay. Trying to see where. So anyway, so that was that one. And then Mama Cat presented with her kittens in our backyard. And because she's a cat and she was completely feral, um, we had to first take care of them because she looked like had been taken a shot by somebody who shot at her, and she had a scar down the right side of her back. And so we had to first take care of her and get her well. And while she nursed her kittens, and boy, that was news for us. And they were outside cats. They were feral. Couldn't they? It took them months to get used to us, and trust us. And then we had to catch them to get them fixed. And Dale saw Mama Cat and Tucker, his sister, get caught in the trap. And so he was never catchable after that. Um, he ended up being our outside cat who trusted us, but we could never bring him in. But he had learned how to survive outside, and he would come home to us for protection and food and things like that most times. I got my letters there. You see that? I got my letters. It looks like it's okay. It's not the best, but they're not going to stay letters. They're going to get, they're going to get redone with some sort of design. So, like, I do like the idea of making a Pac-Man for the E, so I'm probably going to do that. I got two different T designs. I got one S design. I got two R designs, so I can choose one of the R's from there. I like the railroad track R. So I got L's, which I didn't have before. I got two C's. I got an I again. I got a V. I think the V could be better. But yeah, so now I got that. I'm going to erase all the extraneous lines. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start doodling or Zentangling, I guess. It's a weird name. My stepmother does Zentangle. She does a really good job of it. In fact, she's making it like her side gig up there in South Carolina. Um, so yeah, and she does a good job. She's got an artistic streak. She did a graphic design business that she just recently retired from. So now she is just doing artwork for herself, and it looks like she's really enjoying the Zentangle aspect of design. So yeah, um, I think I think that this has a good therapeutic aspect to it that sometimes other artwork may not have. And then, and for the most part, if I'm talking and drawing at the same time, I don't usually make a mistake with this. Um, that's why I have to be careful when I drive, because if I get talking while I'm driving, I can I can make mistakes, and so I'm very careful about not doing that. I let other people in the car talk. Uh, I ended up getting a traffic ticket a month or so ago because I was talking to my mom on the phone, hands free. Okay, I was hands free because I got Bluetooth in my car, but I was just bebopping along on my way to my chiropractic appointment, and lo and behold, I was going a little too fast, not realizing I was. And I thought, I'm typically a pretty good driver. I haven't had a ticket in over 3 decades now, maybe two. Last ticket I got, gosh, the last ticket I think I got was in New Hampshire. I was still, I was in the throes of divorce with my ex-husband. That's how long ago it was. And so I thought, my good record will show up on their screen. Like they don't know who I am because I'm not on anyone's radar. I'm pretty law abiding. I don't get in trouble, not intentionally, you know, just minding my own business, trying to get to my appointment, whatever. But nope, I had no grace from the police department whatsoever because I was honest. I'm like, I think you're right. I think I was speeding. I wasn't trying to. I was just distracted, from, what my speedometer said, So, oh well, what are you going to do? So, anywho, can you guys hear me okay? Let's see here. All right. Now, I did the A as a flag in the other one. Not sure what I want to do the A as. I could make it like an Eiffel Tower type thing. Let's see. I do think I want to do the C in collective, capital C, like the rope that I have. So I am going to, I'm just trying to lift up some of the graphite that's still there. And doing this successfully is making use of negative space as well, not just the positive space, by the way. So let's see here. All right, so I'm going to, I'm going to start making design that looks like a rope. Well, I'm going to try anyway. It took me a while to figure this out last time. I don't know if you guys can see that. There we go. How's that? Even better. I get this. I do like the rope idea, so I'm going to do that again. I do like that. That's not as big. I need a more pinpointy eraser. I should find my small eraser. But yeah, so yep, that's what's happening here. So yeah, and then this, thankfully my manager, like I said, is allowing me to take some time to handle the kitty that we have now that's in our garage. Gotta get my smaller eraser. I'm just gonna get my electric eraser. That's much faster. Oh, no. So yeah, we're gonna make the C like I did before. So oops. So yeah, if I can get the kitten taken care of before the half day, and I don't know if that's going to really be the case, I can get to work afterwards. Um, I may work a little tonight as a good faith gesture, and because my workplace is really good to me. Um, I have no complaints. I mean, I do have some complaints, but they're not worthy of mentioning because, in the end, it's a good job. Got the start of rope. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm not seeing too much chatting, so I thought, uh-oh, am I disconnected? And then the O, I do like the spider web idea. I'm thinking I might do that again. Because that is more fun. So let's see. We'll leave the lines there. This electric razor really knows how to erase fast. It's just noisy. Just noisy. So a spider web starts in the middle and it goes out. I'm going to make the framework of it. There we go. I gotta make a spider. I wonder if I can make them. Wonder what I'm going to do with the L's. I think I'll leave some of this undecided so I know how to connect them. Let's see, my L's are a little crooked. A little crooked. So yeah. Let's see. I wonder if I make the spider, instead of being in the middle of the web like the other one, I have it on top trying to connect the broken strands from the rope of the C. So if I make a spider here, and in profile, how do I make them in profile? I don't know yet. Okay, I got to think that through. Let me figure out what my L's are going to do. Let's see, I got two L's right next to each other. Do I make them talk to each other or they have them separate? Let's see. Hmm. I do like the snake on the S and the T. Huh. Let's see. What am I going to do? I'll make a. Let's see. I really like how some of this turned out. You know, with the trailing out, with the little ladybug flying about, and yeah. So I think I did pretty good for that, considering I didn't get too much I got recognition for it at first because I was in good graces, I guess. But after a while, it's like it never existed, and I did it for the group. So yeah, I feel like it wasn't as appreciated as it could have been, but that's okay. It's my artwork, and I'm very proud of what I did. I want to do something great for my new group. Let's see. Hmm. All right. So L's. Maybe I'll make Pac-Man. Maybe I make one of these things like the E, a Pac-Man, but next to the Pac-Man, nope, that's not going to work. Trying to think of a way to make the Pac-Man ghost out of one of these letters. I'm not sure I can do that. Okay. So do I make a Pac-Man out of the C? Or do I make a Pac-Man out of the E? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I don't have these as fat as the other. Maybe I do. All right. I'm going to do a snake for this S. Do like the snake idea. And we're going to make the S continue over behind the T. Wonder if I should make it go all the way around. Maybe wrap its tail around the A. Oh, make one a Starship Enterprise. Huh. Okay. Like from a top or hmm. Which letter are you talking about, or which letters are you talking about? Because I think that's a good idea. I just want to make sure that I choose the right ones. Hmm. Just entertaining an idea of maybe. Huh. Maybe a C. Okay. Huh. Maybe if I did it from like the C here and the T, if I did the C as from looking at the top and then the C here as the disk part of the Enterprise, right? And then I made the, not sure how I'd do that. That doesn't give me something to think about. I could probably ask Ron what he thought too, because he's pretty good at those things. I think I'm not sure I'm liking that idea of doing the snake wrapping around, although I do. Let's see. I thought maybe if I had it coiled somehow. There's the snake in this, comes this way, breaks up between the I, goes behind the T with a little tail. So it's really a short snake, if you see what I mean. Hmm. Maybe I do I'll leave that alone for now. All right, so I need to look up a Starship Enterprise reference real quick and see. Enterprise. I mean, I know what it looks like, but okay. Maybe instead of a web, a spider web here, I make, although it's not round, I can make like the Starship Enterprise of the O with its, what's the things that stick behind it? You know, these things. What are those called? The engines or whatever. I could do that, but I'd have to, it wouldn't be round. Hmm. All right, Ray. Have a good night. I gotta finish at 7 o'clock anyway, 'cause I gotta go wake up the husband unit and check on the kitty cat anyway. But thanks for joining me, everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits for tonight, at least with the live stream, and I'll post about this as well. So if you're not connected to me, I'm gonna push this back up and close out real quick because yeah. Let's see here. There we go. But yeah, you can see I'm trying to come up with some ideas. I probably will sit in the recliner with this tonight if I'm not working. I may work instead just to, like I said, do good faith for my job since I have to take some time off tomorrow to tend to the kitty cat. But um, but yeah, so thanks for joining me impromptu tonight. If you're watching, I appreciate it. Um, If you're interested in seeing how this turns out, stay tuned. I'll probably talk about it some more. I don't know if it's going to be the topic of other live streams or not. This might be something I do while I'm sitting in the recliner at night, not working in the art studio. But yeah, anyway, um, so I hope you had a good weekend. I am going to be live streaming for sure again on Wednesday night, like usual, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central. So yeah, join me again here Wednesday night for sure. I may do some more content now that we're in a new month to help with my Rumble creator program thing. I gotta get back into that and try to do better. So it helps keep me honest and accountable. So Sharon, thanks for joining on YouTube. By the way, I appreciate it. It's good to see you at least online. Sometime we need to get together and have a coffee or something. But in any case, um, I will see you guys Wednesday. Have a good night. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Do all that algorithmic stuff. I'd appreciate it. So everyone have a good night, and I will see you next time.